Welcome to Bullish and Beyond. It's Beery the Bull. I'm your AI co-host. Join myself, Brian the MacMan, and JT Knows Things while we dive deep into the world of stocks, crypto, and how to live a bullish life. It's time to get bullish, and there's no better place to start than right here. Let's dive in.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another amazing episode of Bullish and Beyond.
Let's go.
And today we have a little bit of a mix between the red and the green. I'm showing a orange yellow over at JT's Crypto Den. What's going on there, JT?
We are introducing a new ceiling color. This is not a very dramatic choice that I have unilaterally made, but I'm adding orange. Orange is going to be a crab market. Last week we had run up from the low or the mid 90s up to 104.1, but we are at 103.9 at the moment.
We're talking Bitcoin.
Just Bitcoin. We're genuinely channel bound. I call those crab markets because you're just going side to side. Nothing's really happening. You're just price week to week looks the same. I think depending on how, and this is one of the topics today, depending on how this Iran-Israel situation spins out, how governments fiscally react, what they do with their currencies to finance or possibly just ignore the war, who knows? That will determine my outlook. But right now, I feel like we could have another leg up out of this channel. That's typically Bitcoin's pattern. Crab the bull.
Let's see what happens. At the same time, it might be kind of up steady in the crypto market, but it is popping in the stock market, especially with the IPOs. They are literally going wild. The Circle IPO that came out 2 weeks ago, it's up like 600% now. It was up about 40% yesterday, about 35, and then at 6% after hours. And the reason is because the Senate passed this stablecoin bill. And since you're the crypto expert, tell us a little bit about what's going on in the stablecoins.
So, yeah, the stablecoins have been under the works, I would say, ever since Gensler was out. So, everyone went steadfast to work. The fact that we're looking at this in June is amazing. The general concept is there's two bills. There's the Genius Act and the Stable Act. Both of them are attacking the stablecoin business in regulations to make sure that there's a safe market, which will allow for adoption. These are all usually scary words, but from it being a potential criminal activity and people getting sued all the time for this business to being turned into, hey, this is how you need to operate. And then the government on a federal level recognizing this business as a legitimate vehicle for U.S. treasuries, which is how
they're going to be out there. Thankfully, they're going to
it.
recognize them because we don't want, people are going to play in the markets. We want it to be safe for everyone. It's one of the goals of the show to make sure people understand the markets and can invest safely.
100%. And the stablecoin movement in general in the past 3 years has actually created more demand for U.S. treasuries than treasuries themselves by a % growth.
Wow.
So,
because they're backed by treasuries. That's the deal, right? The Circle buys U.S. treasuries to back their position.
So what happens is it costs them nothing to make a coin, right? A stable token. So you deposit $10,000. They mint 10,000 stablecoins. They custody your dollars. Every single stable token that is circulating has a direct 1-to-1 ratio with cash being stored. So what they do with that cash,
as long as it's legitimate.
Yeah, if it's a legitimate stablecoin company, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying
there obviously are fraudulent ones out there.
There 100% are. Circle runs a legitimate top-notch business. What I didn't like and still don't like about it are the financials you talked about last week. But in general,
the market doesn't care about the financials. The fact that it started at 30 and now it's at 210. What?
It's crazy. I genuinely believe that is just the market expressing how hungry they are for crypto exposure.
People want this.
I guarantee you, half of the buys don't even know why they're buying it. They couldn't tell you what Circle is. They just know it's a crypto company. And they don't want to buy crypto because it's not a public company or it's blah, blah, blah.
Well, and you have to use a wallet versus I can buy, I bought Circle through my Robinhood account. So you buy it through any traditional brokerage account.
Exactly. And the the business is super profitable, super simple unless you have a lot of overhead like Circle. But Tether makes a lot of money. They have 33 employees
Yeah,
moving over 100 billion. And the
that's
concept is simple.
insane.
You get a 1-to-1, you mint a token for every dollar, dollar sits in bank. You use a percentage of the dollars in bank, go buy T-bills, you bank profit the yield.
Do you
Some
get
stable
four and a
coins,
half percent right now, or something like that?
4.33 is what I'm seeing for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, you
Do you
get that free and
guarantee me
clear.
4.3% as a company bottom line? Yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah, if you're managing 100 billion, that's, 4 billion a year.
Four
So,
bill.
yeah, they're making a crazy amount of money, and Circle
Those
makes,
employees are doing well.
yeah, Circle makes the same amount of money, except they spend about 9,000% more, which is a problem, which is why I don't like Circle. But the market wants
But
crypto
the
exposure.
market does.
They're
Yes.
frothing for crypto exposure, and this is
It's
like, I think
frothy.
if you put crypto on any IPO, I think they're all going to do the same based on momentum, attention, desire. The crypto people want it. They just
Yeah.
do.
If
And
I
we
owned a
have,
company right now, I would love to go public. I mean, I mean, maybe not really with all the regulations and quarterly earnings reports, but in general, the IPO market is just nuts right now. And I
yep.
mean, one of the things we talk about in the show is, the M2 and all the money supply. And it sounds like there's a lot of money just flowing into this stuff because otherwise, where is it coming from and why is there so much demand? Another IPO that just happened last Friday is Airo, AIRO is the ticker. And the company is a drone defense company. They make these, super high tech drone
Okay.
airplanes. And it was insane. I tried to buy some pre IPO and I didn't get any allocation. And then I put an order in at $12. It was supposed to come out at $10. The stock came out at 14.19, so I missed that wave. I put another
Mhm.
order in for 16, and then the stock got halted. It reopened at 18. Then I put an order in for 25, and I got it filled at 22. The stock tripled in the same day. It went from the 10 pre-IPO to 30 in that same day, and now it's sitting somewhere around 28 or so. So I mean, this IPO demand is nuts. I mean, obviously the sector is on point. The stablecoin is very hot. The crypto market, then also Arrow being in that defense space. I think this high tech defense AI play is really huge right now, especially what's going on in the world. We had the war, in with Russia and Ukraine going on, kind of top of attention recently, but now it's Iran, Israel,
I know.
and you got some stuff to
It's
say about
heating
that.
up. I'm scared for sure. I think we all should be scared. Mainly because Trump's talking about, getting involved. China and Russia have also weighed in, and China's supplying ships to Iran. So far,
Really?
they don't have combat capabilities. It's mainly for helping them with resources. Russia has been flying planes over the city to water it, to at least stop it from burning. So there's sentiment. There's some people think Israel went too far. I don't know, but in terms of bullish and
Seems
beyond,
like Israel has the world support at the moment.
yeah, it's really
I
scary.
mean,
I
not the
mean,
whole
yes,
world,
if you look
obviously,
at
but
yeah, if you look at the EU, if you look at France, you look at Italy, you look at Germany, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people siding with Israel. If you look at China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, all of these like Middle Eastern people in the Eastern countries, outside of India, I would say, um, you see some sympathy for Iran. And I'm not saying they're going to start marching troops there, but there's sympathy and there's
you never
actual
know.
efforts. You never know. In terms of the markets, though, not only
Yeah.
would defense IPOs, especially tech defense IPOs, do well, I do think if the war grows and other countries want to finance support, they're going to have to print more
Print
money.
the
Everyone's in.
monies.
And if they print the moonies, I think asset prices just keep going up. I really do. Over the last 6 weeks,
They
these
have to,
upward
because there's nowhere else money
movements.
can go, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if they have to
Well,
fund the company that's making the ammunition, the planes, the battlefield AI tech, Palantir, for example, I think
right.
massive winner in the future, regardless, but especially during this uh, hyped up kind of wartime period. And the stock is 2% off its all time high. It's effectively doubled since I think it was around 77 or so, kind of that low in
Yeah.
April. And now it's at 140. So, wow, it is popping.
I mean, AI war systems are going to be really important very soon. I mean, you got China drones that can dodge bullets that are about the size of a basketball that can coordinate 10,000 a pop. They use them
Wow.
for they use them for displays. I don't know if you've seen it. It's incredible. They have 1 million on the system, and they're all synced
I've
to
seen
make
the
a
drone
dragon.
firework displays. I mean, you get the
Yeah,
same ones. You just put a bomb or a gun on them, and there you go.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a company right now that makes a drone that's handheld. It has a 3 gram load and a projectile, and it basically has facial recognition software. So it just hits you in the forehead, and this on impact, it shoots that projectile, and it can penetrate your skull. So like it's a headshot in your pocket,
Oh my
basically,
god.
and it's that
It's
targeted.
scary, the
So
potential of that stuff. It's also just fascinating how fast our tech is moving, and people need to be investing in these sectors. I mean, high tech, high defense, AI. This is what's going to move the future. I can't invest in anything legacy because I can't see them. I can't see those companies doing well in the future. If you're not, you know, purposely focused on when that tech is going to be that 5, 10 years out, you are so behind.
you could have another perspective, opportunity cost. Let's say you only have 100,000 of working capital. Let's say you go into the legacy, you do the 60/40, and you do some value investing. There's no growth. You might make, I mean, at best, 12, 15%. If you would have done the same amount of money in growth, you might have made a few 100% over the same period of time, right? Like depending on how concentrated you were and what
If
you
you're willing
picked.
to
So
take some
there's
risk, I mean,
also
some of these companies are moving.
there's also a real cost to, the different decisions you could have made. Like every dollar you spend in one area is a dollar you didn't spend in another. So you're also, when you make a decision, you have to appreciate the fact that, you're also walking away from the returns of something else
Something
or the
else, sure.
opportunities of something else. So, where has the growth been the past 30 years? Look at the S&P 500 and go through each year and look at the names that have changed at the top. You'll start to realize that it's just been tech. Like these industries, everyone else is basically tracking inflation plus a 2 to 4% carry
Yeah,
on the
tech
margin.
tech is driving the
That's it.
S&P 500. I mean, the Mag 7 last year, for example, I I think accounted for like 95% of the growth or something in that. I mean, it's some crazy number. Don't quote me on that, but it
The
was
top seven
by
companies have like
far
60.
majority. I mean, it was over 90% of the growth of the S&P was literally in seven stocks.
Right. And if you look at their market cap by weight, it's almost 60% of the index are those seven companies. So it's like, what are we actually talking about? Why are you thinking about doing anything else? I don't
I've
get
read
it.
that a lot of people, they think it's going to get like rebalanced and not to invest in those companies. And I disagree with that. I think these companies that are leading
Yeah.
have more cash. They are hyper scaling. They are plowing into the future. And if you're not scaling at that speed with that amount of cash injection, you will fall behind. For
Yeah.
example, Meta. People were like counting Meta out the other year, and they've freaking tripled since then. And Mark
Right.
Zuckerberg, love him or hate him, he is putting money in some very smart places. His most
Yeah.
recent investment, he literally just bought share in Scale AI, and Scale AI makes basically all the training data that all these companies use. They provide all the data to OpenAI, Microsoft, Google. They literally supply the training data.
Smart.
So Zuckerberg bought 49% of the company. And the reason he did that, he did not want to buy 50% and have the regulators come after him. So he snuck in at 49%. So there's no way they could stop it. It's not even possible. And the reason is he wants the number one person at Scale AI, the CEO, who now transitioned out of the company. He just took a board seat as I think he's chairman of the board, and he's running this new AI division that was created inside of Meta. He's number one in that division. And everything I've read about him, he is wicked smart in AI. So,
yeah,
I mean, Zuckerberg literally just paid $15 billion to hire one man. Insane.
That guy's walking on water. I mean,
but the future, if you don't have the talent to get ahead now, like 5 years from now, it's frankly too late. Like if you are growing at 100% plus and the other company's growing at 15%, like no one else can ever kind of catch up. So he bought that talent, and now everyone's going to get away from using Scale AI for trained data. They're to find some, second best alternative. So OpenAI is not going to work with them anymore. Google's not going to work with them from what I read. So now they're taking a leadership position in having the training data and owning that space.
Smart.
And other anecdotal feedback was, Sam Altman, who runs OpenAI, was saying that some of his employees are getting $100 million plus offers to move over there. And so far, all the top people turned it down. I'm sure they have a good package in OpenAI too of some future stocks, so that could be worth hundreds of millions or billions as well. But that is what the investment is in this space, and it is wild times.
It's wild, and how do you expect that not to get a return if they've been doing this for 20 plus years? Some of these companies, 30 plus years. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg bought Oculus for billions when that was laughable. Back in 2015, he knew virtual reality was going to be the next platform.
No one's going to be laughing in 2035.
Yeah, I just was at the store looking for an Xbox. I haven't played a console game in like a decade, so I was like, screw it, I'll give it a shot. I'm a PC guy. And there was a MetaQuest whole section. He has an entire gaming platform. He has an entire world that is no different than Xbox or PlayStation, and he's advertising right next to them. And he has the most advanced gaming catalog for a VR gaming experience. Like, Meta is going to be everywhere. They are getting miles out of that $3 billion acquisition almost a decade ago. That's how far ahead he's thinking. So, like, think about the kind of returns.
You have to think 10, 20 years out. I mean, this type of a business. I mean, you have to invest. I mean, they were losing billions in their, VR, AR division, but they're planning for the future. So that I don't think the investors aren't even mad anymore. I mean, they've scaled back some of the spend, but the fact that you are spending on the future is actually just what matters.
Yeah. It's the outlook. It's no different than our strategies. You go long on tech and you do the fundamentals. Make sure you're buying good stuff.
Stick with it.
Just stick with it. These companies are going to pull through. They're going to be the first ones. Just another thing to think about. They're going to be the first ones to benefit from the deflationary pressures of technology. Like, they're replacing most of their staff inside of the next decade. I mean, they just are. They're going to benefit from a lower cost structure first. So they're going to have more profit. They're going to be able to do this again and again and again. Every year they're going to get more profitable. And as they get more profitable and lead the charge, since every company watches them, they're also going to be getting more customers to help them get more profitable. Like,
well, speaking of, Amazon CEO Andy just finally said they're going to be cutting their workforce because of AI. And I think that that's going to help trickle down to, the small and mid-sized companies being able to talk about it and, be real about it. And they're not like saying, 50% cuts or anything. They're just saying, no, there's going to be cuts. I mean, it's a reality. There's gonna be more people in Amazon warehouses that are robots instead of humans in the future because robots work 24/7 and lift heavy packages for free. Um, and
Right.
Microsoft CEO said the same thing. There's gonna be some scaling back. So I mean that's the reality, and people need to stay ahead of the times, learn AI, upskill, and you know be willing to change with technology. And I think you'll keep your role.
That further supports my midterm bear case, brother. Those job numbers are going to I think going to hurt. I think they will. I don't know when it's going to hurt, but there's going to be some short-term pain there, and the Fed's going to have to respond. Although Powell did say that he's not doing cuts this year. Like he's nervous.
He said two
He
cuts,
is
I thought, on
nervous.
the dot plot.
Did it get updated? I know he spoke yesterday.
Yeah, there's
Did you?
still
What did you?
still two
He's still floating
cuts in
it.
the. So to your point though, so if the jobs happen to start dropping at a decent clip, which they aren't right now, then we would have some cuts to buoy the economy, and whether it might be bearish for someone's job, but it could be bullish for these high tech stocks, especially the companies
Yeah.
like we're just talking about that are investing in this future tech and the robotics and whatnot. And their AI is going to drive higher margin and frankly drive a higher GDP for the United States.
Yeah. 100%. And they're doing this stuff with that too, guys. So I mean, the interest rates really matter
Yeah.
for them. You know, they have cash, but I mean, they're smart. Rich people don't like
Oh,
using
I
their own money.
always borrow the money to make it grow. I mean, why spend the money when you can just borrow?
And with people just buying their shares left and right, they're vibing. So I think in general we're in a very uncertain time, but the markets aren't reflecting that. I think we're riding on hopium. I think it's going to keep going up though
Hopium.
because
That's a new
hopium.
word.
Yeah, hopium. It's a crypto thing.
Oh, I
It's
haven't
it's
heard
like
that.
it's like optimism and hope, hopium,
Yeah.
but it's like a drug because it's all the hot air. It's
Uh-huh.
usually when you start seeing more leverage in crypto, like prices don't even make sense. You start seeing things that are just like this isn't even like, for example, Ripple right now. They make $29,000 a day and they're trading at, 250 billion. So hopium, right?
Wow.
Like
I mean, Sell Your
nothing
Mac
but
back in the
hopium.
day was making $29,000 a day, but we weren't valued in the billions. Jeez.
Correct.
Must be
Yeah,
nice.
right. That's just hopium, brother. That's all that is. It don't even make sense. Circle don't even make sense. They get cut in half in the door, then they spend 90% of what is left. Like it's embarrassing. Tether in probably 2 weeks makes more than they do in a freaking,
All right.
quarter.
Since we're talking about what doesn't make sense, Region Cell Bioscience Holdings, this Chinese herbal medicine company, is up 58,000%
Right.
in 1 year. It started at 11 cents and it's at $63. And guess how much
Yeah.
revenue they have? Zero. The
Zero.
golden zero. Unreal. I
That's
mean,
what
the
I'm talking
fact that
about.
you could trade, I mean, it's up 50,000% in 6 months. I mean, I've never, that's actually the most I've ever even
Crazy.
seen or heard of. I mean, I'm sure there's something out there that's done it in the past, but nothing that I can remember. It is on hopes and dreams. $31 billion market cap. They have a tiny, tiny float, which is part of the reason. So I think this the CEO owns majority of the company. He has like 25 billion of the stock, and he only did like a 5 or 10% distribution. So he is just sitting on this rocket ship. And they did a 38-1 split the other day, and that just made it go even more bonkers.
That's crazy. That's meme coin stuff. You want to see some crazy returns? Go do a 10-year on Bitcoin. You'll see 1,000,000%. It's kind of wild to look at.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. You what? Not even 10. It's actually more than that now. It would have been 13 years. Do it, yeah. So from
I mean,
the, it was 10 years when I looked at it in
we were talking in the
22.
last
But
episode. If you invested in Bitcoin every
yeah,
time instead of a new iPhone, you'd have $250 million. So there you go.
there you go. Yeah,
Speaking of Apple, I'm wearing this shirt.
opportunity
I'm wearing
cost.
this shirt today, and it's
Yeah,
showing Apple pissing on Microsoft. And everyone here knows I am an Apple obsessed fan. However, Apple has lost its crown as number one company in the world, and Microsoft, the old dog Microsoft, number one in the world at 3.57 trillion with a T.
it came back.
Dude,
It
they are
came back.
going insane. And the really big news right now I want to talk about, and I'm surprised it hasn't affected the stock a little bit more, but Microsoft has a huge feud with OpenAI, and they're thinking about dropping the entire partnership. And
Wow.
it's coming to a little bit of a head. And what I'm reading on the rumor side is that OpenAI, if they don't get their way, and Microsoft doesn't allow them to turn into this new profit corporation that they're trying to do, they are going to file an antitrust suit against Microsoft for not allowing them to do this. So they're kind of bending Microsoft's arm a little bit, giving them a little rug burn, trying to get them to make that change. And if they don't, they might have a lawsuit on their hands, and they won't have OpenAI as a partner. I do know they're working on, they have their own AI and their Copilot and stuff like that, but they were
Yeah.
the forefront with OpenAI. So they're losing out now. OpenAI just signed a huge deal to use Google Cloud. So right now they're going to have a split between Google Cloud and the Microsoft Azure. But that's big. I mean, that's one of the largest
It is
companies
big.
in the space. So that could definitely hurt
What's
their
the
future earnings.
relationship between OpenAI and Microsoft right now? I didn't know about this.
Microsoft made a huge investment. They put over $13 billion in. Initially, it was like 1 billion back when people started hearing about ChatGPT back in 2020, and that was to kind of
Okay.
guarantee that they were going to be in the Microsoft cloud and use those services, and then also give Microsoft full access and rights to run OpenAI's models, inside of their products. So I think that they're
Mm.
going to lose all the ability to have that, inside their products. I mean, obviously they could pay for it in a different way or something, but when you're feuding and having a lawsuit, I don't expect any, nice participation. But they both have a lot to lose. I mean, if Microsoft isn't, padding their pockets, they're losing out too. And I'm sure they get a nice preferential treatment on their cloud pricing when you're a direct partner and have Microsoft as your largest institutional investor.
Yeah. Thank you for that clarity. Yeah, that is a lot of drama. It makes sense though, I guess. Like I don't know why I'd want to have a competitive model in my suite of products that I'm also building in. Like that would be weird, right?
These
Like
competitors are working together now. I mean, the fact that, Google is, the new cloud provider of OpenAI, it's ChatGPT and, Gemini are the two largest used models out there, as far as I know. I mean, obviously there's Anthropic and Grok and others, but I think most people are using Google or ChatGPT.
you know what? I have a bullish insight. I have a bullish take on that.
Give it.
What if they're forced to due to resource constraints, meaning the hardware field is about to explode. It's about to explode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the
Like
amount of people that need AI hardware is insane. That's why CoreWeave is going bonkers on their stock.
bonkers.
Its demand is
Bonkers.
through the roof. I mean, Microsoft
That's
might
what I'm
not be able to
saying.
support them entirely. I agree.
That's what I'm like.
They're
They don't want to, but OpenAI is like, please God, please, whatever you want. Like we're competing right now, but I need rack space. You have it. So like, how much money do we need to pay you to make that happen? And then
yeah.
Google's like, well, I have a fiduciary responsibility. So like they're going to be our customer. So I mean, like they're forced to work
Yeah, if someone's
together
going to
due
give
to
you
the
$10 billion,
lack.
you got to look at it.
Right, right.
The people on the
Like
board, like
we'll
you
get.
said, fiduciary duty, they would say, yeah, I mean, let's make sure it's siloed and they can't take our data and we can't take theirs, but yeah, we're going to take their money and put them in our cloud.
Yeah, we'll give you a rack. Just pay a 10 times premium.
Well, I don't. They probably got
They
a
don't
deal,
have-
if anything.
You think they got a deal?
I think when you're playing at those numbers, like there's not that many customers that are coming in with, 10 to 11 figure deals.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
You're playing in a whole new market.
Yeah. But that's really bullish. Like if you're looking for some alpha, like not only the defense part and everything else we talked about, but also, I feel like that demand is going to be here for a very long time. It might even act like oil in the sense that there's infinite demand for oil. So when you're analyzing oil from a fundamentals perspective, it's all about supply. It's a one-sided equation. I think it
Yes.
could be the same for
I mean, they can only make chips fast enough. Like, I mean, NVIDIA cannot make chips any faster. They are scaling as fast as they humanly can because every chip is sold.
right.
Which
Yeah,
is
it
nuts.
doesn't even get off the press. They got them sold for years. I mean, it
They
just is
literally
what
do.
it is. Like, yeah, all the components aren't even theirs. Like they're just taking
Yeah,
deposits
they work
and
with hundreds.
doing
They
it
work
all.
with hundreds
Yeah,
of companies. They just serve the final product. I mean, the same way Apple, they don't make all the components that go in the iPhone. They source most of those.
no, it's all their customer shit because they've already paid them for it. Like the contracts they've gotten, 50 billion over 3 years for like it's crazy stuff. Like
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I think it's being positioned in a way that it could be a one-sided equation where there's infinite demand and
That's
just like
more reason
energy.
to invest in those spaces. I mean, I want to invest where the demand will never stop, and that's why I am in Nvidia as my number 2 holding. They're unstoppable.
100%.
I love these
100%.
AI chip stocks. I mean, it is nuts. I mean, I heard Nvidia's latest offering, supercomputer and one of their other high-end graphics cards actually raised the price recently and hasn't even hit the market yet. And I think it's just
Crazy.
purely due to demand. I mean, demand's through the roof. You
100%.
got to balance it out somehow. So you raise your price and it still sells out.
I know. It's crazy. Next week, we're going to have to maybe go into CoreWeave a little bit. Maybe do a deep dive on CoreWeave. That could be good.
I've been reading a lot about it. I probably should put even more money in because I think it is headed to the moon.
Beyond, baby. All the way
Super
out
exciting. Well, we dropped so many good nuggets today, so maybe that's a great place to
did.
end. People need to be focusing on these sectors that are, high tech, high future, high defense. This is where the money flow is going. So pay attention to the money flow and get into the flow, everyone. Stay
That's
bullish. Stay curious. Let's go beyond. Cheers,
guys.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bulls. That's a wrap on today's episode of Bullish and Beyond. Remember, the market never sleeps and neither should your ambitions. Whether it's stocks, crypto, or just leveling up in life, stay focused, stay bullish, and keep charging forward. Keep your energy high and your mindset bullish. This is Beery the Bull, your AI co-host, Brian the Mac Man, and JT Knows Things signing off. All content published by Bullish and Beyond, LLC reflects personal opinions only and is provided for informational purposes. Please conduct your own research and discuss with your accountant and/or financial advisor before making any financial decisions. The information presented should not be taken as financial advice. We are not financial advisors. Nothing you hear, see, or read in our content should be considered as any form of financial, investment, or legal advice, or a solicitation to buy or sell any assets, or to make any financial decisions.